Hey guys, it's Miss Lisa here. Today when I was tutoring the girls, I came across this method that is like the stereotypical Common Core thing that parents get frustrated about. It's basically like a really long, broken down version of subtraction. And when you look at it, initially you'll probably think it's kind of complicated and you won't understand why you have to do it, but it's Common Core, and third graders have to learn how to do it in order to pass this year. So I'm just going to go ahead and show you a couple examples of how it works, and hopefully you'll be able to kind of get a better grasp on it, so you can either if you're watching this video, teach your children how to do it, or if you're a kid watching this video, hopefully you'll be able to have a little bit of a better understanding of how it works. So the first problem that I'm going to do should be a little bit easier. You don't have to do a whole lot of work for it. So hopefully it'll show you the concept behind how the decomposition method works. So when we move on to the next problem, that little light bulb will go off and you'll be like, oh, okay, well that makes sense. All right, so here's the original way that we would write 567 minus 125. So I'll go ahead and do that subtraction right now. So 7 minus 5 is 2, 6 minus 2 is 4, 5 minus 1 is 4. So the answer is 442. That's the standard way. Now let's go ahead and do it using the decomposition method. First you will write 567 minus 125. The first thing that we want to do is we want to go ahead and we want to break down the 125. And the way that we're going to do that is first we're going to go ahead and we're going to try and get rid of the 1 in the hundreds place, because you always want to start from the greatest. So I want to get rid of the hundreds place first. So we're going to go ahead and do 567 minus 100 equals 467. Easy enough, right? So now that we got rid of the 100, we're going to go ahead and put a check over the 1 just so that you know that you already did it and it's out of the way. Now we need to get rid of the 2 in the tens place because we're going in order. That 2 represents 20 since it's in the tens place. So now we go ahead and we move this 467 over. And then we're going to go ahead and subtract 20 because this 2 represents 20. In not all cases it's going to be this easy, but for this problem it is. So 467 minus 20 equals 447. Alright, so now we'll go ahead and put a check mark over the 2. And now we're going to move this over again. 447 minus, the last thing we have here is a 5 in the ones place, minus 5 equals 442. We go ahead and put a check over the 5, we're done. We already did it ahead of time, so we know that the answers are correct, but sometimes the teachers tell the kids, just go ahead and add what you subtracted. So 100 plus 20 plus 5 equals 125. You got it right. But if you're worried and you're not sure, just go ahead and do it the regular way to double check your work. Alright, now I'm going to go ahead and do another problem that's not going to be quite so easy, but now that you've seen this problem, it shouldn't be too hard. Alright, so the next one's going to be, let's say, 617 minus 499. Okay, so we're going to do the same thing that we did before in the above problem. We put a little squiggly so you can differentiate the two. Okay, so first thing we're going to do, same thing we did up here, is we're going to get rid of the number in the hundreds place. So in this case it's a 4. So 4 in the hundreds place equals 400. So we're going to write 617 minus 400 equals 217. Alright, so now we're going to go ahead and we're going to check off that 4 because we got rid of it. Now let's bring the 217 over. So 217, and now we need to go ahead and we need to get rid of this 9 in the tens place. Now here's where it typically gets a little bit more tricky. The 9 in the tens place is going to represent 90. So I'm going to go ahead and write that off to the side. this is where the decomposition method, it kind of gets tricky, but it's also where it can get helpful as well. So what we want to do is we have to subtract to get at least 90, right? So the first thing that we're going to do is we're going to start off with the easiest thing we can subtract, which is 10, because 217 minus 10 gets us an easy number. So 217 minus 10 would equal 207. Okay, so now what I do up here, this isn't required for the decomposition method, I just do it so I don't lose track of what numbers I've done. Obviously, if you can do it in your head, that's awesome, but I just kind of recommend writing off to the side so that you don't forget. So 90 minus 10 is 80. So now we need to subtract 80 more, somehow, some way. Alright, so we're going to bring this over, and we have 207, and we're going to go ahead and, in my opinion, the easiest thing to do again is to just subtract another 10 to bring us into the hundreds place, so, well, into the hundreds, sorry. So 207 minus 10 is 197. Alright, so we're going to go ahead and subtract another 10 over on this side so that we know we did it. So now we have 70 left to subtract. Alright, so let's go ahead and bring this over. And we have 197. And now here's the easy part. Now we can do 197. Now we can just subtract 70. Right? So 197 minus 70 is 127. Alright, so now we can go ahead and check off, because 70 minus 70, 0. We can go ahead and check off the tens place. Right now, the next thing we have to do is just move over to the ones place. So we're going to bring the 127 over, 127, and we're going to do minus. Now, here, you can do it kind of one of two ways. Obviously, you can do it several ways, but, you can either just go ahead and do minus 9, which, is an easy way to do it, but a lot of teachers want their students to even break down the last number. So I'm just going to show you how to do it that way. So we're going to break down this 9. Okay, so 127, if you can see, the easiest way to subtract here would be minus 7. Alright, so 127 minus 7 is 120. Now we're going to bring the 120 over. And then 7 minus 2 gives you 9. So now we just subtract 2. And that puts us at 118. And that should be our answer. So now we can go ahead and add everything up to make sure that we got it. So 400 plus 10 plus 10 plus 70 plus 7 plus 2. So 70, 80, 90, 7, 98, 99, 499. So that should be the correct answer. Okay, now something I want to go ahead and recap here is that the decomposition method is intended, to show you a different way of how to do subtraction, and to also kind of make it easier in a way. So if you notice right here, we tried to go the easiest route every time. The easiest route isn't necessarily what we consider to be the shortest route. It's what we can do as far as mental math. The easiest route as far as mental math goes. So up here we have, sorry about that. Up here we have 217. The reason I took away 10 is because that's the easiest way. Like 217 minus 10, you can do that in your head. That's 227. And a lot of third graders would be able to do that in their head, because that's kind of where we need to get our minds at, is what our third graders are capable of doing. So 207. And then 207, the next thing that I thought would also be easier, to bring us back into the 100s, is again minus 10, which brought us to 197. And then from there, we have an easy subtraction because the student can just count by 10s going backwards, to bring them to 127. Here, the easiest way, as far as mental math goes, again, not the shortest way, but the easiest way, is 127 minus 7. That brings you to an easy number, which is 120. And then the last one, you just use the last 2 out of the 9, because 7 plus 2, 9. It brings us to 118. So I'm going to go ahead and do one more problem, just, you know, for practice so you can see how to do it. I know this video is a little long, but, you know, it's just kind of intended to help you actually learn how to do it. Alright, so this last one is going to be, let's just do, I'm just making up numbers here, 852 minus 228. Okay, so first thing we go ahead and do, like we talked about before, is we get rid of the number in the hundreds place. So we do 852 minus 200, which equals 652. And then we go ahead and put a little check over our 2. I'm going to bring the 652 over. Sorry, I know it got a little darker, I think, since my phone's about to die, so I'm trying to get finished with this. Alright, 652. Alright, now we're going to work on this number right here in the tens place. This number represents 20, and this ended up being pretty easy as far as that goes, so we can literally just go ahead and get rid of 20. 652 minus 20, 52, 42, 32, so 632. Let's go ahead and check off that too. Alright, we're bringing the 632 over, and now we have 632. Alright, now it's going to be minus 8, but we're going to go ahead and break down that 8, and it's going to be 632 minus 2, alright, which is going to be 630. And now we're going to bring that 630 over. 630 minus 6. Alright, so equals 624. Alright, so now we can go ahead and check to see if we did that right. So 26, 27, 28, 228. So this should definitely be our answer. That's pretty much it, guys. So just the last thing to remember is, you know, this method is not meant to confuse you. It's meant for the children to be able to do the subtraction using mental math and not having to do the, you know, the traditional up and down method of subtracting, because that can, you know, it's not always as simple as this. Obviously, sometimes you have to cross it out and whatnot, and this is just meant to provide an alternate method for the child to be able to, you know, break down the problem and use mental math. So that's pretty much it. I hope that you were able to learn something from my video. Have a good rest of your day, guys.